Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and how are you doing today? I hope things are well with you wherever you are in the world. So I'd like to make a quick announcement, if I may, with respect to live stream film club chats, wherein a film is selected, and during the course of a live stream that is scheduled for a particular time and date, I provide some comments on the film, and also I talk to you via the live chat, and so we can get a conversation, or a number of conversations hopefully, going with respect to a particular film. So these are the live stream film clubs that I had the pleasure of conducting over the course of last year. Well, now we're in 2020, of course, and I took a little bit of a hiatus from them simply because of my own schedule, but I'd like to get back into the swing of things, if I may. Plus, I was greatly encouraged by a number of comments that I received from you, my dear friends and viewers, when I posed this question to you, I think it was yesterday, about whether it was a good idea to pursue these live streams or not. And so I'd like to do so, with your permission, of course. Also, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start to try to move away from Criterion films. Not to say that I dislike Criterion films, and not to say that I will never do a Criterion film for another live stream. No, on the contrary. But I'd like to start to try to fit in more non-Criterion films for discussion, because, as you know, as many films that there are in the Criterion collection, there are a vast number of films that are not in the Criterion collection. And so I think it would be worth it to try to dip one's toe in the non-Criterion waters, so to speak, when it comes at least to these live streams. And so I'd like to start to do that. The issue, of course, is that I think it might be very difficult to try to pin down particular films that will suit all tastes at all times. So it's just the nature of cinema. As you know, some genres and some types of films are preferable to some and not others, if you know what I mean. Some people don't like to watch this genre of film or that genre of film, whereas for others, these genres are really fun and perhaps are the mainstay for one's cinema journey, so to speak. So tastes vary, and I completely get that. So I do acknowledge that it might be a little bit difficult for me to choose on my own. So what I'll try to do is, well, what I'd like to ask you is, along the way, if you are interested, please feel free to give me some suggestions and advice as to what titles you think might be worth talking about over the course of this coming year. And I'll maybe try to put together some polls or something along the way that I'll try to present some kind of more interactive method of choice for particular films. I did conduct some polls last year, and I thought it went pretty well. However, I think there is some room for improvement, and there are some things that I would like to tweak and to change as far as that process is concerned. When we get closer to those polls, I will let you know what my particular ideas are for changing those, only slightly. But I think polls in general are a good idea. In order to develop polls, one needs a list of films. And so if you have any thoughts about any types of films that you would like to see discussed, please let me know. Now, I cannot promise to select every single film, because I also would need some ability to discuss it to some degree, and so I can't possibly be able to discuss every single film that is ever mentioned on this YouTube channel. It's impossible for me. But what I can definitely do is I will look at all the suggestions, and I will try to discern and to determine what might be the best possible choices for live streams, and then we can go from there. So I'll if you don't mind, I might exercise a little bit of so-called editorial discretion. But I'll try to be as open-minded and as reasonable as possible in developing those polls based on your suggestions. So along the way, if you want, leave your suggestions in a comment or something like that, or you can let me know directly in a direct message or something, and then we can go from there. But in the meantime, just to get things started, what I thought would be a good idea would be, let's start with a couple films starting for January and February. So it's now, what is it? It's now January 9th, 2020. And so there isn't that much time between now and the end of January. Plus, I would only be able to do these live streams during the weekend, my time, when I have time off from work. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to schedule the first live stream for Saturday, January 25th. So Saturday, January 25th, Tokyo time. And I think what I'll do is I'll change it. I'll have a different time. So I'd like to do it at 11 p.m. on Saturday, January 25th. So this will be live stream film club discussion number 1. And I said that I'd like to stay away from Criterion titles for the most part. However, just for the sake of it being the first discussion for the new year, plus, relatively speaking, there isn't that much time between now and the 25th of January to prepare. So I'd like to do a film that I feel more or less comfortable in terms of discussing now. It is in the Criterion collection, so if you don't mind, for the first film anyway, let's focus on a film that is in the Criterion collection for January. The film that I'd like to discuss on January 25th, Saturday, January 25th at 11 p.m. Tokyo time is this film. Here we go. The film is Godzilla versus MECHAGODZILLA. So Godzilla versus MECHAGODZILLA will be the film that I'd like to discuss during the live stream film club chat scheduled for Saturday, January 25th, 2020. So again, the film will be Godzilla versus MECHAGODZILLA. Then for February, what I'd like to do is for, let's say, February 8th, so 2 weeks from then, so February 8th, Saturday, again, let's say for convenience sake, Saturday, February 8th at 11 p.m. Tokyo time. So that'll give some more time to discuss, and that's approximately 1 month from today. What I'd like to do is I'd like to focus. I did receive some. I received some suggestions to try to venture into horror film and giallo film. Now, I know that giallo films aren't for everyone, and so this particular film will not be to everyone's tastes. And so if it's not, if this sort of horror film is not your cup of tea, then please don't feel that obliged to have to join something you don't want to join. So you don't have to join this if you want to. But for others, it might be an interesting thing, and it is a kind of classic in the genre. And when we're talking about Italian horror films or Italian giallo films, this is oftentimes considered to be the sort of the premier example, or the prototype in many ways, if you will. It's not the earliest example of giallo, but it's one of the early, most successful examples of this kind of genre. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about this, which is this film, Blood and Black Lace. This is the Mario Bava film, Blood and Black Lace. Now, I have not spoken on this channel about Mario Bava. I have spoken a little bit about Dario Argento, but not about Mario Bava, and so I do have a lot of admiration for his work, and I find his films to be incredibly effective, very entertaining, oftentimes quite intense to watch and very chilling, and some examples also are quite inventive in terms of horror spectacle. This is one of the classics of this genre, and so I think it's worth discussing. It's also, I think, readily available from Arrow, and so hopefully this will be an opportunity to bring a little bit of Arrow video into the mix. I haven't spoken a lot about Arrow video on this channel, and so I'd like to do that. Of course, I don't have that many Arrow video films, relatively speaking, but I do have a number of them, and so I'd like to discuss this for Saturday, February 8th, 2020. That'll be at 11 p.m. Tokyo time. So once again, Saturday, February 8th, 2020, 11 p.m. Tokyo time, I'd like to discuss the film Blood and Black Lace. And I'd like to then say that for anyone for whom Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla or Blood and Black Lace is not necessarily your cup of tea, please don't feel alienated in any way. I apologize, of course, if I didn't choose a film that's to your liking, but please, I hope you understand, film is very vast, and there is the chance that I might choose a film that is not necessarily to everyone's liking. So I hope that you are not too offended, and that if you don't want to join, there's no obligation for you to join at all. So you don't have to feel the need or pressure to have to watch a film that is maybe not necessarily for you. But for others for whom these films are okay and the like, please feel free to join me during one or both of those live streams. So I hope to talk to you again very soon about future live streams, and hopefully with those future live streams I'll get polls going. Maybe I'll get more suggestions of titles for you from you in the meantime, and that'll help me generate more polls, and we can go from there. So I want to keep this as interactive as possible, and I want to have as much input from you as possible. But for the purpose of the re-inauguration of these discussions for 2020, let me just start with two films that I feel fairly comfortable already in being able to discuss to a certain degree anyway. So once again, it's going to be Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla for January, and then Blood and Black Lace for February, and then for the future we will see based on your input, and we will go from there. So I will be in touch very soon about the upcoming live stream, which is for January 25th, Saturday, 11 p.m. Tokyo time. This is going to be Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, which is in the Criterion Collection. So Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. So I hope to see you there and then. And in the meantime, my friends, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. So until we meet again, my friends, cheers, and I hope you enjoy Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Take care.